All right, welcome back to episode 76 of Smoke and Mirrors. This is Rob, Dave, and Triz, and we have scoured the web to bring you all the latest movie news you could ever want. How you guys going?
Yeah, good, man. How you look?
Yeah, that was good, man. That was good. Like, tired because, like, I've been busier these last couple of weeks and just haven't been laying my ass at home. But, yeah, that was here. Good to go. Remote and direct. So we're gonna we're gonna kick it off with some streaming news. So the first story off the bat there. So we got we got news of Reginald the Vampire. So this one's starring Jacob Batalon from I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, but he's from Spider-Man series, latest one. He was Ned. So this one, he's like the fat vampire, which is weird because this guy just recently underwent like a whole like body transformation and shit.
Yeah.
And he doesn't fit in with the vampires because they're all like muscular and fucking like, you know, skinny and upper class and stuff. So he's just got to find his way in the vampire world.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's like one of those young adult sort of find my feet.
Yeah,
find my niche.
Vampire's Apprentice sort of deal.
Yeah. Sounds alright. So that one's set up at Hulu and Amazon. I don't know which streamer it'll actually show on.
So I think,
seems a bit weird.
In the US, it's Hulu, and everywhere else is Amazon. Kind of like what they did with Deepwater.
You know what I'd like to see, though? I'd like to see this not be like just the young adult, normal retread dog shit.
Big dog just cut out.
That's all right. It's because it's live. It's gonna do that.
Right.
But it's still recording you. It's not gonna show you on the screen like. But yeah, I was just saying, like, I'd rather it be like him completely changing form. You know how Tom Holland did Cherry, and he's going to do a couple of other things that isn't so Spider-Man No Way Home sort of safe. I want him to jump into that world, and for him to just lose it. So I want orgies. I want like mad gore, swearing.
Yeah,
gotta swear.
This sounds like it's going to be one of them feel-good family sort of movies. PG-13, bloody, you know, family fare, a little raunchy, but not too raunchy. You know what I mean?
Gotta have the raunch.
No way the raunch is going to be there.
We'll see.
Yeah. What do you call it? Sticking with streamers. So, what's his name? Stephen Kane, the showrunner for Halo. He was talking about adapting all of the lore for the TV series and how they actually pursued getting through to actually writing down that script and getting all the story out and what they wanted to do with the show. So he was talking about how because there's so much lore across like the games, there's books, there's comics, there's fucking everything for Halo. He wanted to present it in a format where he could use Master Chief as like a blank slate and then show him discovering his humanity and actually going through. So when they tried to marry it up with everything else in regards to the lore, they just found it a bit tough and there was some challenges there. So what they did instead was just they tried to make their own story within that and move forward with it. I haven't watched that first episode just yet, but from what you guys were saying, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
Honestly,
the story seems interesting.
Yeah. Like they changed some things and whatnot, but maybe we can just get into it just a little bit at the end there.
Yeah.
What scares me about this is that it's very Bryan Singer X-Men 1, where he was like, don't read the comic book and refused to use that as like a source material.
Yeah.
But what I like though is that these guys, the showrunners, are taking a much more different approach by focusing on the characters. But I will say the storytelling in that Halo fucking saga, the actual games, was mad because they focused on the humanity in the machine and the machine in the human. Like, so there was a contrast between Master Chief and Cortana, and that's why I think that story worked.
Yeah, 100%. I think like when you go over that fucking period of time between, what is it, Halo 1 and 4, Master Chief's sort of arc was that for some reason he's put to sleep after everything happens initially, and then he comes back and he's different. Because at the start of 1, he's like, oh, we need Master Chief, and then by the time it hits Halo 4, everyone's accusing Halsey of making like a fucking a defunct product, because he's like still acting like a human rather than just like being a Spartan.
Yeah.
And falling in love with Cortana and things like that, and needing her. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna like, I need to sit down and watch this shit.
Yeah. It's worth checking out.
All right, so we got news of Betty Gilpin's new project. Right, so this is called Mrs. Davis. It's written by Damon Lindelof and Tara Hernandez. So this is the second time that Gilpin's worked with Lindelof. First time in The Hunt, which was fire. I like that movie. Absolutely love it. So Tara Hernandez is going to be the showrunner on the show, and we've got actually the director of Black Mirror, so Owen Harris is coming through, and he's going to direct a few of the episodes as well, which is awesome. Famously said that we won't be making any more Black Mirrors because the world's a little bit too it's too close to heart now, not science fiction. All right, so this one is going to be about it's a faith versus technology sort of movie, right? So Betty Gilpin, not too many details, but Betty Gilpin plays a nun who has to go up against a really advanced AI, artificial intelligence. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. That's the space that I sort of play in, right? Is the faith versus technology space. So that's where I sort of lay my hat.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah,
kind of reminds me of Fifth Element.
Yeah,
actually, with that priest going up against that was it Zerg? No, it's not Zerg. It's that planet, whatever that planet is.
No,
that's Gary Oldman.
That's Gary Oldman. Yeah, it's just the anomaly. I think they call it in that. Yeah. But yeah, this sounds cool, man. I can't wait for this. Yeah. So they claim it's an epic battle of biblical and binary proportions.
Sounds like a lot for Betty Gilpin to kind of dive into as well.
Yeah, I love her though.
She's so cool, man. All right, that's it for streaming news this week. All right, heading into film news, Lena Headey is going to make her directorial debut, which is she directed a short film before this. If no one knows Lena Headey, she's Cersei.
That's right.
In Game of Thrones, Queen Cersei, and she was also Sarah Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
He is who should have won the Game of Thrones.
You win or you die. She's the one that kicked it off for sure. So the story of Violet, which is the movie that she's going to be directing, is about these two women. They don't know each other. They strike up this friendship going across the Trans-Siberian Rail. Then, as the story goes on, they find out that either woman isn't who they said they are. And then things just kind of veer off course. And they start finding out shit about each other. And maybe they are connected. I see some murder on the Orient Express type shit going on.
That's what I'm saying. As soon as I heard, Trans-Siberian Orient,
I
was like, I see you.
Yeah. That's the longest fucking railway, man, because that goes from like Russia to like from Moscow to Vladivostok, which is fucking by Japan. The sea of Japan. 10,000 Ks, man.
That's a lot of shit to get off your chest.
Yeah, it's a lot of talking.
Women will fill that time up though.
Yeah, that's true. They'd be able to talk through that.
Badly.
Men would sit there in silence the whole time.
Badly.
What did you say?
Can you imagine if you couldn't smoke or vape on that fucking trip and there was no
Oh,
stops as well?
I think
I'd
this
go
was back in
crazy.
the day. They were smoking, they were drinking. It was all happening.
She was just ill on that train the whole time.
I'm pretty sure there's dining cars, and you can just go smoke in the dining car.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Which would be cool. I think they still have them. Or they'll have designated areas where you can smoke on a train trip that's that long.
Yeah. That'll be
Not here.
What about the GAN? Or the GAN?
The GAN?
It's the one that runs in Australia. It goes through...
Yeah, no, you can't smoke on that one.
Yeah, trash.
Yeah.
I write that whole excursion off because of that.
I don't know. I'd go chill with the bloody conductors. Hang out the window and smoke.
That's fucking mad. What do you call it? So Yaya and Michael B. Jordan are teaming up for this new film called I Help Destroy People. Yeah, so with this one, so the FBI tasked this one guy with monitoring Muslim communities post 9/11. But then as he starts going through and like monitoring everything, what do you call it? He's just getting really disturbed and like he starts thinking about everything and he starts leaking all these classified documents out. And this is all based on a true story as well. What do you call it? So I'm not too sure if it's Yaya or if it's Michael B. Jordan. It sounds like it's going to be Michael B. Jordan that's actually going to be in on the as the agent there.
And then Yaya will be the straight man.
But this,
it's Yaya that's going to be the agent. Michael B. Jordan's just producing.
Oh, right. Okay.
But it's crazy because Yaya's character is probably going to be the what's his face? I think not probably is the only person of color at that branch of the bureau.
Yeah,
which is wild.
Yeah,
considering I mean, there's a big portion of that community that are Muslim.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Sounds cool though. This sounds like the kicking off point, right, for like Zero Dark 30, or like this is like Zero Dark 30 first, and then this is happening at the same time before they actually get Osama, allegedly.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Jules yesterday, and I was saying like around the time of 9/11, I didn't have much knowledge of the Muslim community.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of the stuff that was fed through on TV was almost like this anti-Muslim message. So much that, like, it was almost like I would look at different rappers or actors and I'd be, like, really surprised that they were Muslim. Like when Lupe dropped or when you found out Mos was Muslim. And, like, it took learning about that religion and culture to kind of get me out of it. Yeah, because it just bred fear at that time.
It was such a I always think about it like at school. It was such a small Muslim community in our school, especially. And like I can remember maybe 2 or 3 Muslim, maybe 4 Muslim like kids at school, and that was it.
Yeah.
Considering where we went to school, like it's mostly like for us, it was mostly Greek and Anglos.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's so different.
But not.
And then I go out into the world and work, and it's like I'm working with everyone. You know what I mean? Which is mad. It's like the best eye opener.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does sound cool though, that movie. I would definitely be there for that. So we got our first little shot at Goldfinger. This is not a remake. It's not anything like that. This is actually starring Tony Leung and Andy Lau, who you'll remember from Infernal Affairs, which is what Scorsese stole to make what's his face, The Departed, and he stole heavily.
It was a remake.
Sorta. I've heard people say Infernal Affairs is better.
Oh yeah, I've heard that as well. I haven't actually watched Infernal Affairs.
Me neither. But he, I think I watched the first 15, 20 minutes because I think it's on Stan or one of those streamers, and he's actually like being a cop. He's actually committing crimes and whatnot while he's sort of undercover, which is wild. So I don't know if the rules is different over there in China, but yeah,
maybe they just changed it up for the story there.
Yeah, maybe. But this is all about like, you know, corporate greed and all that sort of stuff, which is mad. So they say it depicts the cutthroat machinations between Hong Kong's business elite amidst the backdrop of the tail end of the British rule, right? So what they'd be going through during that time, which would be crazy, right? There'd be so much uncertainty and everything. Supposedly these guys was just killing. They were killing each other. Like all these top guys were just killing each other of this company. The company is, I think it's called Giali. That's like this made up company that they're doing. But yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It covers 15 years, which is awesome as well. So we get a bit of time with these characters.
Both these guys look really fucking good for their age.
Yeah.
Them jeans, son.
Like, if you look back at Tony Leung and Andy Lau, they both look really good in Infernal Affairs, right? And then to see them in this, they've hardly fucking aged.
Yeah, they were like nearly 40 in that bloody Infernal Affairs, right?
40 looking 30 and shit.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, man. That sounds really interesting.
For me, that's jump to the top of my list now. I gotta watch them. It's
probably won't get a release over here.
I doubt it.
What might also not get a release, at least over here in Australia, is The Contractor, which is the Chris Pine and Kiefer Sutherland thriller.
Which actually looked
it didn't
quite
look
good.
too bad. Kind of had a DTV kind of feel, but it wasn't like too big.
It wasn't there yet. It wasn't just there yet.
It wasn't that low Bruce Willis, Steven Seagal rung yet.
They had money for the cameras.
Yeah, and the location.
And the location. Yeah, they could fly out.
But the rights have gone up into dispute because the production company, the studio, STX, has gone into Chapter 11. So if anyone doesn't know, Chapter 11 is a form of bankruptcy, and it's probably the most complicated form of bankruptcy that there is. So what Chapter 11 is you can still operate as a company. However, you've got to basically set aside your debt and prioritize and sort of obligate certain things to account for that debt. So while this company is operating, the Najashi film company is also organizing how to sell off STX films. So it's this really complicated, messy situation where they want to release the film and there's distribution deals in place for the US. But worldwide, there's no plans in place because like how the fuck are they going to distribute it when the company's being sold and they're bankrupt?
Doesn't STX Films do a whole lot of Netflix movies though? They do, don't they? Like you'll see it come up after the Netflix logo, STX Films.
I wouldn't be surprised, but they're also the studio that will make the film, and then Universal might distribute it, or Warner might distribute it.
So they pay for production and then sell off.
Yeah,
that's what they do. Like, that's dangerous.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised that they're going bankrupt because, like, if you're creating all these theatrical release runs, then no one shows up to the cinema to watch them. There's fuck all chance of you getting a return on that.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I'd rather sort of set up a deal with... They honestly should have just set up a deal with Netflix. Have like a 4 or 5 film bloody streaming deal and get some money in the bank, and then no, we good. That's if Netflix doesn't sweep in now and just be like, hey, we'll buy you out. What films do you have on your roster right now?
Which might be the go, unless SDX is being sold as a studio that they're not they're not looking to partner with anyone. They want to be their own standalone studio. So they're not gonna and Netflix doesn't have any entities, subsidiaries either. So they're not gonna be like, all right, this is a Netflix and we're gonna release it under Paramount or something.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll see, because the movie looks interesting. I'm not gonna show up on day one to go see it or rent it day one, but down the track, it might be interesting to check out. Chris Pine.
I thought that movie was a streaming movie.
That's what I thought.
You know what I mean? Like, I thought, okay, well, this is going to be one of those streaming movies that pops up on Amazon or Netflix, and that's where I'll get to watch it. I didn't expect them to bring this sort of movie. This movie doesn't work anymore at the movies. It's not a spectacle. It's not a it's not a comic book property. It's not going to do well at the movies now, and obviously looks R-rated as well. So you've sort of aged out your demographic right there. Yeah.
That's why that other Ethan Hawke movie, I think it was called Ones and Zeros or something, where him and his twin brother are embroiled in some shit, like his twin, and he's got to step in and save it. Yeah, that shit's basically just gone straight to streaming because they know there's no market.
Yeah. But they know that people will sit there and actually watch those sort of movies. If they see, shit, that's Chris Pine, that's so and so, I'm going to watch that movie. Yeah.
True. Should be good.
It's just a lot of risk. I can't imagine running that company. There's just so much risk. It's not like you've got if it was something like John Wick or something like that. I can understand that, but it's not. It's not a property like that.
But that's why so many of these companies, you'll see 5 or 6 production companies will come up.
Yeah,
Alibaba Films or
Oh god. But for me, when I see a whole lot of companies come up, I immediately think this movie's shit. Like when I saw Ghost Protocol. When I saw Ghost Protocol and I was like, fuck, there's a lot of production houses on this film. And then only after all 3 or 4 came up, okay, there was the bad robot at the end there, right? I thought, no, this movie's doomed. Because every movie that I see like that is trash. Because they had so many backers, which means so much input, really. So many producers with input that you can't sort of make the film that you want to make.
They're really depending on that money.
Which is I always think about how much easier it'd be for, say, a Lucas or someone like that, or a Cameron to come in and just be like, well, I'm going to work with Frank Marshall and I'm going to work with Kat Kennedy. You know what I mean? And those are my producers, and that's who I report to, and that's all. Those are the only people I have to sort of make happy. But yeah, man. Hopefully they figure this out.
Yeah.
Because they will have multiple films.
Yeah.
Either ready or in the process of coming out. So it'd be nice to see those films on a stream somewhere.
Yeah, there's a special place for that mid-budget, even to lower budget.
That's
depending on the content.
Well, that's what we've lost, right? We've lost the market for the mid-range R-rated sort of movie. It doesn't have to be action or anything like that, but just the mid-range R-rated movies that used to come out at the movies.
Yep.
We've lost that. And when you think about what those are, those are our face-offs, those are our Con Airs, that's The Rock. That's all these sort of movies. Like Bay is trying to do that now with Ambulance, and he can't pull it off because the budgets skyrocket. You cannot do it anymore.
Yeah. But then it's also our dramas.
Exactly.
And
our Shawshank
thrillers.
Yeah.
True.
Like Deep Water in theory should have been that sort of movie and marketed as that sort of movie, and that should have brought people in. Like, what is that movie? Diane Lane?
Unfaithful.
Yeah. Like, that was huge, that movie. Made on a shoestring budget. It was huge.
How does that director, Adrian Lyne, he's directed some of the most talked about erotic thrillers for years, and he comes back 12 years later to direct a streaming project. Didn't start off as one, though. No. That's the only thing.
No. He's probably thinking, if I knew it was going to be a streaming project, I would have done something completely different.
That's right.
You told me it was going to come out as this.
Yep.
True.
Yeah. I think that it changes. I think the mindset changes once you know it's a streaming film, and you can sort of you can do whatever you want, really, because the rating's not going to matter.
Yeah. Or take more risks.
Yeah, exactly.
You go.
Can you imagine a movie like Extraction coming out at the movies? An R-rated movie just like Extraction coming out at the movies would never happen again. It's not going to happen again.
Not unless the machine was like way behind it. And they were like promoting it every other Super Bowl, basketball, whatever, baseball, any avenue they could, and it'd be a big promotion budget behind it.
Yeah.
But if you look at Chris Hemsworth's track record, bombs.
Yeah.
It's not like he's like a big draw unless he's in the Thor costume.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or unless he's going to do something like he's doing next with Hulk Hogan.
We'll see how that pans out.
But biopics play. They play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Very true. Moving on. So we got Panos Cosmastos. So this is the director for Mandy. So he's partnered with A24 and XYZ Films to direct a new film called Necrocosm. So this one sounds right. It's basically about, so there's these two lovers and they get separated somehow, but they're in this other galaxy and just all this shit starts going down, and they describe it as like a fantasy nightmare. When I hear that, I think of that the first 5 minutes of Lovecraft Country. You know, that war's happening, but all that other shit's coming through as well. Yeah, and you see like Cthulhu and all that. So this sounds really interesting. I didn't know that this guy only directed Mandy, and he was attached to that. What's that Del Toro, the anthology horror, the Cabinet of Curiosities? Yeah,
and he did Behind the Black Rainbow.
Yeah,
Black Rainbow.
Yeah, that's another weird cosmic. But this sounds like Mandy in space.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Mandy,
Me neither.
but I've heard like really good things. Like it really kind of leans into the fantasy horror genre.
Yeah.
Those are the other movies that get made. Is horror movies get made. Those are the only other R-rated movies that have played.
I've actually I've never ever checked, but is Shudder making a killing on all those originals that get released?
People watch them, man.
Fuck.
I don't watch them.
Me neither.
I pay for Shudder every month and don't watch it.
Yeah.
Shudder's got some fire on there.
It does. I know it does.
But more the behind the scenes series.
I never check it though. You know what I mean? Like I never. Oh, okay. There's a blue. Because you know on Apple TV how if there's a blue thing on there, it's something new. Yeah. So I'll always see the blue check there and just never check it out. I need to start checking it out.
True. But yeah, this looks alright. Like I said, Mandy in space, interesting. I'm waiting to see a trailer for this as well, because if it's anything like Mandy, where the trailer was just fucked up, probably be alright.
Yeah. Watch Nick Cage show up in this shit.
Probably.
Big time.
Just on Nick Cage, did you see all those video on demand and DTV movies have paid off his debt?
Really?
For real?
For real, yeah. And he said, but I never phoned it in.
He doesn't. He doesn't at all.
Nah.
I reckon Cage has so much fun doing all that shit, man.
I think so too. I think it's probably the most freedom he's had in years.
Well, he talks about it in his True Hollywood Reporter thing.
Yeah.
Because he's there talking about Pig, but he talks about, like, you know, now he gets to choose and do whatever he wants.
It's true.
He said, these are the movies that I'm choosing. Like, it's for me, he was saying, for me, it's the directors I get to work with. And the storytellers. He was like, I don't care what the story is about. Or, like, you know, I'll prepare and everything, and I'll give you 100%, but I just want to work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's talking about.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you call it? I'm actually hanging for that Prisoners of the Ghostland movie that he's in. I think it should be alright.
I think it's out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to check it out. All right. So, final piece of film news. So, we all know that Mission Impossible 7 is supposed to have come out in the next couple of months. But they pushed it back until next year.
Yep.
So, THR actually did a report on everything about this, the production and how troubled it was. So, within that piece, they actually said that Cruise himself got COVID, which I didn't know.
Me neither.
Shit.
Macquarie got COVID. He got COVID so bad that he had to be hospitalized in London.
I didn't know that either.
First thing I had no idea. They didn't say anything. They said production had shut down, which kind of, you know, enforces Cruise's stance on safety and the what's his face, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that they said was that Mission Impossible 7 is, even though they've finished it, and it's more than likely edited together if it was coming out in the next couple of months and everything's finished, the status of the film is still work in progress. So that the reason behind that is they're kind of holding that film hostage until they get, unless the studio pulls the money from Mission Impossible 8, right, which is supposed to be the final one. Which is wild that they can do that and just be like, nah, we're still working on it, and it's only because we're waiting for you to pay us this money.
Shit.
Or to ensure that you pay us this money.
Yeah.
For the 8th film, which is wild.
They say they're also incorporating footage of a submarine sequence from 8 into 7.
7, yeah. So Cruise underwater again, more than likely.
Strapped to a real live submarine. Probably rides the submarine from the surface to the depths.
I see him climbing on the outside of that submarine. That's what's going to happen. To try and get into a torpedo bay that needs to fill up with water first before you can actually get inside. Yeah, that's Cruise.
He's got to hold his breath for 27 minutes.
Yeah, 12 minutes. 12 minutes you got to hold your breath for. But yeah, man. So supposedly MI7 right now was sitting at a budget of $290 million, which is wild.
It's bigger than the Batman.
Yeah, bigger than the Batman. And the Batman was pushed back 2 years, I think.
A year.
A year, yeah. So this has been pushed back 4 times now, close to 2 years now. And yeah.
The other piece there was that the studio heads are so focused now on Paramount Plus being the landing space for a lot of these big budget movies 45 days after theatrical release. Cruise has a big problem with that because for him 45 days is basically same as day and date. For Cruise. Yeah. So he wants this movie, and I kind of get his point. he wants this movie to land and have 3 months theatrical exclusivity, pre-pandemic rules, right? Which sounds a bit antiquated right now, but if this movie has a budget of $290 million, it's going to fucking need to be out there for a while.
Yeah.
So you go.
Those old Mission. He's going off what happened with those old Mission Impossible movies, right? So some of them didn't have the best opening.
Yep.
But through word of mouth, they generated a lot of money.
Yep.
So it's not wrong what he's doing.
No.
In theory.
No, I don't think so either. Like he needs to recoup a lot of that cost.
Yeah.
But like the Paramount heads are kind of going, well, let's just save this argument for later. But what I'm seeing is that it's going to be a bridge that they probably burn because this is the last Mission Impossible. I don't believe that there's any other projects that Cruise has lined up at the moment or that we know of at Paramount. So if these movies, they pull the trigger and these movies just go to streaming 45 days later, that's the last Cruise movie that we'll see at Paramount.
What are they going to do with bloody Top Gun? Have they promised him a 3-month window? Because Top Gun is Paramount.
Well,
right?
they said that Top Gun will go to Paramount Plus 45 days after.
Wow.
So maybe he's waiting and seeing how that goes. Maybe that's why Top Gun just keeps getting delayed. Because
that makes sense now.
But like I can see from his point of view why he would want 3 months for this movie, but I think Cruise is so particular about his projects. Even Days of Thunder, they wanted to do like a spin-off movie or show or something like that. And Cruise just canned that shit quick.
Yeah. Did the same for the Mission Impossible series that they wanted to set up. He stomped all over it. So I think he owns the rights to this Mission Impossible.
He must.
Or at least Cruise Wagner did.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see both those movies. Top Gun, I want to see Mission Impossible 7, and I want to see 8. Like, I'm invested in all of them.
Yeah.
I was going to watch 7 the other day. No? 6 the other day.
But at what point does Cruise's views control hurt like the proceeds for this film? Unless halfway through that theatrical run they go, you know what, we've got a special clip only theatrically exclusive for Mission Impossible 8. Check it out.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that they do what they did on The Matrix, where the trailer for Revolutions was on the end of Reloaded.
That'd make sense.
I'd love that. Like, that's your stinger.
What if they
it's a trailer.
Yeah. You know, they usually start with they light the fuse for the intro. What if the outro was that instead of them lighting the fuse at the end of 7 and it's the trailer for 8?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
And just end with that scene of him on the side of the submarine.
Yeah. Just getting dragged or riding a torpedo in real life or some shit.
You would do that.
Every time I picture getting dragged, I think Cruise is holding on with his fucking hands and his legs are just fucking dangling like that as he's going at high speeds.
That's what happens, though. That happened on the plane.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And that's it for film news.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's time to fan the hammer. No sound effects this week. All right. So, Christina Ricci has nabbed a mystery role in the Wednesday adaptation coming from Tim Burton and Alfred Goh. Kid Cudi is going to direct and star in Teddy at Netflix, which is going to depict a semi-autobiographical version of his life and The Pursuit of Happiness, the song. HBO Max is planning new Charlotte's Web series. Blonde, the Marilyn Monroe biopic, is getting an NC-17 rating for all the sensualness in there, which director Andrew Dominic said isn't as sensual as an episode of Euphoria. Amazon.
I also heard Joey Diaz say that they fucked Marilyn to death. So I don't
know. The series no one was waiting for or expected, but was in the pipeline for 4 years from Amazon, is an 007 Amazing Race themed show. I don't know who the fuck's showing up for that.
We just insert that bloody Goldblum, and we're going to sell it, and we're going to sell it. GIF just here.
Some disappointing news there. Bullet Train has been delayed by 2 weeks and will now drop on July 29th. Rawson Marshall Thurber is going to direct Voltron. All the studios are in a fucking frenzy. Amazon, Universal, and Warner all battling for rights, even though, like, you know, on Netflix there's a Voltron show already. But anyways, we didn't expect it so soon, but the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel is set to film in Australia next year. Angela Bassett said Black Panther 2 is bigger than Black Panther 1. So we'll see. Daniela Melchior has joined Fast 10. Vin Diesel calls Jason Momoa and her angels in the Fast family. Avatar 2 first look trailer might debut in front of Doctor Strange on May 25th. We'll see. Oscar Isaac said, nah, I'm not going to play in Coppola's Megalopolis, and passes up on that role. Alex Wolff has joined Oppenheimer, and also the cast of the Smoke and Mirrors podcast has also joined Oppenheimer, along with every working fucking actor in Hollywood. Jared Leto has...
We're a bit too dark to be in NASA, though. So I don't know. We've got a bit too much color in our blood to you know, or in our skin to actually be in.
During that time, maybe we'll play a trio of like street sweepers or something. We'll see. They'll just show us in the B footage, B-roll footage.
Start singing that fucking chim chimney.
Jesus.
We're gonna be there when the bomb explodes.
All right, so Jared Leto has hinted that Tron 3 may still happen, that Cillian Murphy's character may actually get expanded in the third one. I just don't know who the fuck Jared Leto is going to be in there, because he wasn't in the sequel, but anyways. We got our first look at Nick Cage and Renfield looking like Alice Cooper. He's going to play Dracula in the movie, and he looks just bizarre. We'll see what happens. Seth Rogen has joined Aziz Ansari's Being Mortal. Marvel has said that they've got a Nova film or series or whatever the fuck in the works, and that one of the writers from Moon Knight is on that writer's room. David Dastmalchian, who killed it as Polka Dot Man, has just confirmed that his character of Kurt won't be showing up in Ant-Man 3, Quantum Mania, and neither will T.I.'s, obviously, since everything that went down with that. And the biggest piece of gaming news / films is that the Metal Gear Solid movie is being adapted right now by Jordan Vogt-Roberts, but they've yet to find a story, which is unbelievable considering the fucking 90-minute cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid. Yeah. So we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, so that was actually confirmed by Oscar Isaac, who at the same, because I think this was a red carpet for Moon Knight. Someone asked him who do you think should join Moon Knight in season 2, and he was like, Blade, and then just ran away.
Shit. It's gonna happen. It's gonna fucking happen for sure.
Yeah. You know,
I can dig it.
And that's it for Fanning Lehamir.
So, moving on to our movie trailers. So, this week we got quite a few trailers. We got our first trailer for Tekken Bloodline, which is on Netflix, where the crawdads sing. Sorta, yeah. We got The Survivor, which looks awesome as well. We got our second trailer for Ambulance, a proper trailer this time. It looks awesome and killing it, right? So my my favorite trailer that I saw this week was the trailer for The Offer.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a limited series set up over at Paramount Plus, and this outlines the making of The Godfather and how it's, you know, basically the movie that could have never been. Right. So we got Miles Teller in there playing a producer on The Godfather. He's completely out of his depth. He hasn't read the book. He doesn't know about the property. He lies to get into, you know, the producer role. This was at a time when Paramount got bought by Gulf and Western, right? So Gulf and Western was this giant company back in the day that had, you know, fingers in every pie, right? They were looking at actually downsizing and selling off all of Paramount and just using them strictly for sets and all that sort of stuff for other productions. So Paramount would go out of production, they would do this. There was another producer on the film. He was an executive. It was like, you know, well, we bought The Godfather because they had just released a movie before that where the book was out and the movie was out at the exact same time. It was a big hit for Paramount, right? They see The Godfather. They go to Puzo. They literally buy the rights for pennies, which is wild. Puzo didn't get paid anything for this deal. And they basically say, we want to redo this. We want to try and, like, you know, make lightning strike twice, right? So we'll have the biggest book in the country out with the movie. So The Offer basically goes through and tells that story of how they actually got that movie done, who they found, who they you know, the battles that Francis Ford and everyone went through trying to make the movie. It was crazy because in the book, right, they describe Al's character, Michael Corleone, as like this like movie star with movie star good looks, and like, you know, they basically say he looks like Redford. So Paramount was like, hey, we want to cast Redford. And what's the space, the amount of pushback that Coppola got because he was like, no. So back in the day, what they'd do is they'd cast like Jewish people and Irish people as Italians in those gangster movies, right? So Coppola was like, I don't want to make that movie. I want to make an Italian mob movie, right? And with that comes Giovanni Ribisi's character, who was actually in the mob, who he's basically, he looks like he's going to be a producer on the film to, you know, stop them from, you know, making the mob look like idiots, right? So that's where that mob involvement comes from. Francis just wouldn't have it on set when they came to him for all this stuff. It was crazy. They didn't want Brando. They didn't want anyone.
I actually didn't expect as much mob involvement in this, but I don't know much about The Godfather's history.
There's so many documentaries and whatnot on it. It's like Scorsese when he brought those two real mob guys on the set for Casino and said, how would you hit this guy? Yeah, this is the parameters. How would you guys do it? They showed him exactly how they would do it. That's what the mob's going to be there for.
Shit.
Yeah, but yeah, man, this looks awesome. Matthew Good looks good. Bloody, what's his face looks good.
Yeah,
Vogler, Dan Vogler, whatever his name is, playing Francis.
Juno Temple
looks amazing
as well. Looks pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, I cannot wait for this movie, man. If you want, there's an actual documentary called the Film That Nearly Never Was, and you guys can see all this sort of stuff on there. It's awesome, and they talk with actual real producers and all that, and Francis.
So that's dropping soon. Yeah, it's like awesome. Around the corner.
April 28th,
in a month,
26,
exactly.
28.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 month, that'll be out. Limited series. I don't know how Paramount does theirs. I don't know if it's weekly.
Yep.
It looks like it's
Yeah.
weekly. Because Halo's weekly. So, yeah. You have to get fucked over like the boys.
Oh, shit. We got a trailer for Men as well. So this is Alex Garland's new movie. So this one's led by Jessie Buckley. And she takes like this solo vacation to the English countryside. But as she's going through, you know, she's admiring the new home that she's going to be staying in for the vacation. She goes outside, sees everything. Everything just looks beautiful, normal, tranquil. And it looks like the homekeeper or the landowner is there, and he's talking to her. And then things just start getting really, really weird. I thought I was going crazy when I was watching the trailer because I was like, that's the same dude every fucking time. Yeah. But then she starts like exploring. She finds like, you know, this tunnel. She makes the echo and it looks like someone's chasing her after that. And then you start realizing as things go through that things just aren't what they seem. Like you find out she loses her husband. Like he's jumped off the top of their building in the city. And then she's speaking to this priest, and the priest is like, oh, maybe if you apologize to him, you know, things wouldn't have happened how they did. And it's like everything that's been haunting her even prior to coming here is starting to haunt her now physically. Like there's this entity that's just chasing her around this place. And so it's like the same guy. She goes to that pub and everyone looks exactly the same. And then, yeah, it just gets really weird. Like I got some The Thing vibes as well when I was looking through it. Like when you see old mate from Bond in there, and he's going through and he's all bloodied up, but it looks like his body's actually changing as he's chasing her as well.
Yeah.
But this looks fucking crazy, man. It looks exciting as hell.
Yeah, this looks really good. It almost seems like there's something before that her husband killed himself for, and she's holding on to that guilt. But yeah, I lost my mind as well when I was like, is that the same guy as the priest? And then it just became clear when they went into the bar that, yeah, he's every guy that's in there.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she cheated on him, cheated on her husband with him. I don't know.
Probably something going on there. But no, this looks crazy, man. I can't wait for it. Like, I haven't watched Annihilation, but Ex Machina, I really enjoyed. Yeah. So definitely hanging for this.
That is the PM from Black Mirror.
Yeah. Same one.
Big fucker.
Yeah.
That's coming out soon as well. June 16th.
I think so.
2 months.
Yeah. Arrive in theaters May 20.
Sorry. In Australia, it's June 16th, but everywhere else that actually has a good distribution system,
I know.
May 20. All right, and the last trailer is Raw, which is new to Apple TV Plus. So this one is like a dark comedy anthology series. So it's got various different stories that it always seems like literal adaptations of sayings or jokes. Like, I wish I could, like, you know, return my husband and get a new one. Trophy wife that belongs on a shelf. Or absorbing memories and feelings through photographs. So you see like lots of weird shit, like Nicole Kidman eating photos. And then like she gets like some sort of nourishment or insight into, I don't know, that memory. Or you see Betty Gilpin and she's like literally on a shelf, and Daniel Day-Kim's in there as well. Simon Baker and Nicole Kidman, I think, are like an actual Aussie couple in there. Cynthia Erivo is this woman that has bite marks all over her.
Yeah,
she's
like
weird.
Bite marks,
and there's a lot more, but like I like that return to anthology storytelling. Like we get in VHS, Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side. I think they did a movie recently, and it had like Chris Pratt, Anna Faris, and all sorts of like people in there, JB Smoove, where they did this sort of dark comedy horror. I think
I like this sort of setup, right? It's got that Twilight Zone sort of. I love that every story it's not going to be a continuation in the next thing. It's literally every story has a start, middle, and end.
Yeah,
I love that format.
Pretty cool. Starts on April 15th, 2 weeks. Should be fire.
Nice.
We get like 2 episodes straight up from Apple. Apple's been doing that lately.
Yeah.
With the 1, 2, and then like
because now you're hooked. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And that's it for movie trailers this week.
Yeah.
All right. And our last piece of news and entertainment news. So, Mohamed Diab has been doing the rounds for Moon Knight. He's been criticizing a lot of other properties that he believes doesn't depict Egyptians as authentic Egyptians or the landscape authentically and quite stereotypically. So after just destroying Black Adam for coming up with for depicting Egypt, what he says is Egypt, in a completely made-up fictitious city, he's now turned his sights onto Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 84. He said that this is the most stereotypical bullshit way that Egyptians are depicted. He said that's what he's looking to change with Moon Knight, is actually give this culture like a normal kind of lens on it. Which, if you think about it, in Australia, we don't like throw boomerangs and like live out in the outback and like it's a normal fucking city. That's a stereotypical view of Australians. Same as South Africa. Like I had friends in primary school that were like, so did you live in a home or did you live in a hut because you're in Africa? I was like, no, motherfucker. It was like normal.
Yeah. Have you seen the how I always used to counter was, have you seen South Africa?
Or when someone says, but you don't look like a South African.
Oh, man.
What in your mind does a South African look like?
You know what they look like. They're just
you want to say black, don't you?
Yeah, nice way of saying what you're not African, you're not black.
Yeah. So man, I'm excited for Moon Knight dropping this week. Give us we'll give you our thoughts on it next week. But yeah, that's it for all the news this week.
You know the reviewers got 4 fucking episodes of Moon Knight already.
Seen.
Fucking 4. I'm waiting for them to drop.
I know way.
Someone's gonna get like careless, steal it.
Oh man, I can't wait. How do you sign up for that sort of shit?
I don't know. I do not.
We got to find that. We got to find out how we get preview screenings and premiere attendees and all that sort of shit. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Because that's I think that's the next step of the journey. Getting in early.
That is for me. So I want to do that and then just start producing. Make a little scratch. Start producing small films, little short films, and then
All right. What are your thoughts on Halo there?
I didn't mind it, B. The motion and CG was a little off, but after I sort of got away from that, I enjoyed what I saw. I enjoyed the story. It's a nice, different story. I was expecting them to do like the same old, the Jesus story, basically. But they didn't, which was good, and they surprised me. I was happy with it.
For me, I enjoyed most of it. There was some character things that they did, changed up, like different characters that just didn't make sense to me. Or I didn't like the Quan Ha character.
Neither did I.
I thought she was a bit of a waste of time and just like they just use her as a plot device.
Literally, she's there until we get Cortana. You know what I mean? Like that's all it is.
But
Go on.
No, I said we'll see as the show goes on whether I like her more or whether she just gets pushed to the side. But
We know what's going to happen now, right? You can see it, can't you? He's going to die. He's going to get cloned by Halsey, and she is going to be Cortana.
Quan Ha.
Yeah.
So I think that like he's gonna live, but the Cortana that's there being cloned already will be the Cortana, and it'll be Quan Ha dying because she's gonna die. That'll like sort of be the thing that pushes him to use Cortana and to go against the Empire or whatever they're trying to create over there. But I mean, both could happen. We'll see.
Yeah, both probably will happen. You know how it is. But yeah, man, it's just little things for me. Like, don't make the fucking sound every time you move. I don't need that, B. You're not a machine. You're wearing armor. You're a human wearing armor. You would not make those sounds.
I don't know, because I thought...
You didn't notice the sounds? It was like it was fucking Robocop.
I thought that added weight to him. What I didn't like was the Covenant. That looked trash. The effects for that looked trash. But the good things that I did like is that, hey, we actually get like the effects of using a plasma rifle on humans. I was really surprised with the violence in it. Like,
people's heads were
and they did everything except for say fuck and show like an explicit sex scene or something.
So far, it's showtime. You know that sex is coming.
Yeah. And the swearing. I also checked out Atlanta.
I haven't watched it. Where did you watch
so
Atlanta?
SBS On Demand has it. But in the States is Hulu.
Hulu, yeah.
It's worth checking out, man. That first episode is a fucking trip, but that second episode goes places. Yeah, they give you 2 straight up. That second...
Champion.
And they're worth checking out as well. They just go by so fucking quick. But that second episode is a fucking trip. There's something that happens in that second episode that is just... it's wild, eh? But to see all those characters, fucking Paperboy, Darius, and his missus, his ex-missus now, show up again, it's so good. So good. Like they're in Amsterdam. This is in the second episode. They're in Amsterdam, right? Yeah. And at Christmas they have Black Peter.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in Amsterdam, so it's like Schwarz something.
Yeah.
But everyone's in blackface.
Fuck.
Oh damn.
So it rides that like cultural boundaries and how both just like they just don't mesh. But there's a weird shit in there. It just hit that formula of Atlanta that I was loving in the first 2 seasons, of that weird sort of melancholy, kooky, funny, and cultural commentary. It's fire, man. It's really good.
How is Lakeith in there?
Lakeith is good. I think this is the best character he's ever played.
True.
I don't think he's done anything outside of Atlanta that actually suits him. I mean, Get Out was a bit part, so you don't see that much of him.
No, the other movie.
Judas?
No,
sorry to bother you. Sorry for bothering you.
Yeah,
I haven't watched that actually.
Yeah, solid.
It's good though.
But how was he in there? It was like,
he's really good in that.
Because I can find his performance sometimes really muted. And
no, he's really good in there, man.
Apparently Lakeith went through a bit of a depressive episode. Like,
oh yeah,
and then like he had an article recently where he's talking about everything he went through, and that's why like every time you see photos of him back in the day, he just looked sad as hell. Like he had sad Keanu vibes about him. and then he went back to where he was from and sort of got his roots back, and now apparently he's doing a lot better, like mentally, healthily, and shit like that, and he's having a lot more fun with his films and shit like that. So maybe we'll see a different side of Lakeith. I'm not too sure.
Hopefully. Always feel like sometimes when you hear these stories from celebrities and you're like, you're on top of the world, the fuck do you have to be depressed about? But there's so many different facets about enjoying the things and just doing the things because it gets you money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is a wrap on everything. Thanks for joining us this week. Catch us next week for our thoughts on the next episode of Halo, maybe some more Atlanta and Moon Knight's premiere. Hope you take care of yourself this week. The rains in Australia is hitting again, so if you're in a flood area, make sure you take care of yourself and stay safe and heed the government's warnings. All around the world there. Thanks for checking in. Follow us on all of our social media, YouTube and all the other ones. They're probably linked somewhere, but check them out. Love yourself and love movies.
Vape more, smoke less, and wash your ass.